Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I just saw Borderlands, starring Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Ariana Greenblatt, Gina Gershon, Jamie Lee Curtis, and a fuck ton of other people. A really all-star cast, led and directed by Eli Roth. I saw this film for one reason and one reason only. I love Eli Roth films. I love the Hostel series. I love Green Inferno. I love Cabin Fever, which is one of the first horror films that I ever saw. And I absolutely fell in love with it the first time, and I still love it after watching it dozens of times after that. So, I don't know anything about Borderlands. I've never played the games. I don't even know if there's more than one. Again, I came to this film for one reason and one reason only: to see a film directed by Eli Roth, who was at one point one of my favorite directors, and still is the director of some of my favorite horror films of all time. So, most of you probably know at this point, Borderlands is not getting great reviews. So, again, I went in with an open mind, as I always do, and this movie fucking sucked. It is one of the worst movies that I've seen this year. Probably the worst movie that I've seen in theaters this year. The only film that I can say is close to that, and maybe slightly worse, was Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney, back in like April when I started doing these car reviews. Borderlands is bad. There are some positives, and I'll start with those because I don't want to be a complete downer throughout the entirety of this review. So, the world building ability of this team behind Borderlands is incredible, but you have to attest that to the video games. I'm sure, again, not knowing anything of the backstory or what those video games look like, I'd have to imagine that they took a lot of that, or at least they should have taken a lot of that from the video games. So that's more testament to what the video game designers did than to what the set designers did for this film. So while they were wonderful, I don't know if I can give the set designers credit, or at least definitely not full credit. Give them some credit, but definitely not full credit, because it's from an already developed world. CGI and special effects, wonderful. It's exactly what you'd expect in a film like this. They deliver time and time again. I don't think I saw any issues with that at all. Those are the two good things. I didn't like the performances. I didn't like the characters. There is no narrative to speak of. It's very, very messy. They never really develop one narrative, and then when they finally hone in on what becomes the main narrative, I didn't care at that point. I didn't give a shit. I couldn't care for any of the characters. The character development is so poor. It's like this, it's a misfit group of individuals, something akin to the Guardians of the Galaxy, but with less intriguing characters. You don't ever get the emotional aspect of these characters like you do with characters like Star-Lord and Gamora and Drax in James Gunn's just absolutely stellar superhero film. That's what you needed out of these characters, and you don't get that at all. I'm very disappointed in that character development, particularly with actors like Jamie Lee Curtis and Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart, who has shown that he is primarily a comedic actor, but can develop drama as well. It didn't happen here, and I was very, very, very disappointed. I didn't care if people lived or died. I didn't care if they made it till the end of the film. They did nothing for me, and I really couldn't have cared less about what happened by the time the film concluded. I didn't care about the storylines. Again, very messy. They don't do a very good job of developing one storyline or intertwining multiple storylines. They sort of exist independent of one another, and they step on one another's toes throughout. The comedy is absolutely horrific. It never lands. Jack Black tries entirely too hard here, and it just doesn't work. That's his style of comedy. It doesn't always work for me anyway, but it doesn't work at all throughout the course of this film. The dialogue is lacking sophistication. It's underdeveloped. It does nothing for me. It does nothing to help develop the film. It's, like I said, it's maybe the worst film that I've seen in theaters this year, sans Immaculate. If you're a fan of the video game series or the one video game, again, I don't know if there's more than one, then sure, go watch it. You'll probably be disappointed like I am. But at least you can say that you've seen an adaptation of a video game that you care about. But this seems to fall in line with most video game adaptations where it's a dud and it's not going to work for most people. I do not recommend that anyone go see this film, really. Again, if you are a fan of the video game, then sure, check it out, but I don't recommend spending money on this. I spent 53 cents with my Regal Pass, and I sort of feel like I got gypped. I got boned here, guys. So I don't recommend spending the money on it. I don't even recommend watching this for free. I think that this is a film you avoid at all costs. Hope that maybe one day they do a better video game, or a better film version of this video game with more intriguing and appealing characters and just an all-around better film. Other than the visuals, there's not much that I cared for in this. I'm gonna give this film a 3.5 out of 5. Go see it if you're desperate to see it, if you really feel the need to, but I've warned you now many times, don't go do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't waste the hour and 42 minutes in the theater. It's not worth your time at all. Until next time, peace.